Hello everybody, hello. So let's start today the chapter number 20 of our Bring Civilization Back. Trust. That's the name of all this series of episodes I've been reporting every week or so. It's about the problems that I had faced in my business. I own a company, just this one. We produce rice. We used to ship cheese for export from the USA. It's mostly international sales. What I do is international sales. Cosa faccio io? Vendite internazionali, vendas internazionali, vendas internacionais, vendre internationale. Je parle 5 langues. Je parle beaucoup de langues. Everybody that knows me, they know me selling. That's how they know. So I know a lot of people for several years. I do sales for 26 years, since I was 16 years old. The first product that I used to sell was encyclopedias. So I used to sell, to go visiting people and sell encyclopedias. And this is because I'm always smiling, I'm always playing jokes, I'm always welcome everywhere. So usually that's what I do. I'm the guy who shows up out of the blue. Nobody knows me, nobody knows nothing about it. Like right now, Griferia Sudamericana. People may say, "What's Griferia Sudamericana?" That's what I'm selling right now. Look, Griferia Sudamericana. They do this in Argentina. Griferia is faucets, plumbing in English, American English, plumbing, South American plumbing. Okay, so that's what I do, but I do internationally. So that caused a bit of confusion because. There was, for example, somebody in Texas that wrote to us through the Better Business Bureau saying that I'm a sales rep. And that's part of my work. That's one of the aspects of my work. I'm more in the general management of this. So I manage sales reps. Like Brian Phillips, he's a sales rep. And I never say he's just a sales rep. He's a sales rep. I think a sales rep has his function. I hired him to act on my behalf to put all together this late bidder pool table business, which was very successful. It was about 116 containers a year. It's about $1.5 to $2 million contract every year since 2018, 2019, now 2020 is a big project. There is, I think the total market is about 400 containers. We're already in negotiations with Brunswick Billiard, so that's what I do, international sales. On the international sales, we have the sales, which is like saying hello to somebody. Then you have the logistics, you have the shipping, you have the product analysis. For example, I'm in Argentina now, and I had opportunity to sell some products international. So I have, for example, this is the mineral water from the Iguazu Falls. So they want me to do this for export, but I believe it's a very expensive. I believe I need to do some adjustments on marketing, change the packaging. I think the name is beautiful, but it's a bit complicated for international. If somebody knows, for example, my personal name is Agustin, like my Argentinian name is Agustin. In Italy, it would be Agustino. In English, so I use Augustin, which is like a neutral that fits like everywhere. When you say Augustin, everybody all over the world, they understand Augustin. Agustin, it's a bit more difficult. So that's more what I do, and that's what I do, and I'm very successful. But what we're talking about in this chapter today is that we're inspired by Michael Hobbs. I just sent, to him like a bunch of emails. The whole cases. Expecting that maybe he can contact us for an interview, and we'll be talking about my case and his article, which is called The Golden Age of White Collar Crimes, which is the time in history we're living, 2020. This is the golden age of white collar crimes. He expressed a lot of problems, which is the same ones I've been reporting for 2 years, based especially on these 4 cases, which are very big. The White House Specialties Cheese, Wisconsin Finest Cheese, their partners, TMP Rice Mill and Shiva Rice Mill in Thailand, Mas Choices Tuna in Thailand, and the Grupo Minar, Ardósia Figueiredo in Brazil, and their associates, associates, which is the American Heritage, Watson's, Kyoto Valley, Family Leisure, Presidential Billiards, and it's all companies that they are all together. They organize this complot against me. And the reason for that they do that is just not to pay my commissions. Let me check if this is recording. Oh yeah, it's recording. And so what happened? He's mentioning here that he goes more into big scandals like corporations and all that. I'm in between because my business is not small enough to be considered a small business. It's not big enough to be considered a corporation. I'm a business that's about $10, $20 million a year of gross income. So that's a middle size business. 10 years old, it's middle size. But I do face most of my problems are corporate, but I'm not big enough in order for like a Huffpost to talk about my case in public. It's not going to sell because nobody knows my company. It's a small company, but the principles are the same. He mentions a lot of the cases, the Wells Fargo Bank, there's a lot of other companies. I'll put the link to the article. It just it was published like 2 weeks ago. It's a Huffington Post, and so again, the journalist is Michael Hobbs. So I sent the whole paperwork to him because the number one thing is that why there's so many white collar crimes happening nowadays. Number one, I believe, my personal opinion, is because of all the computers, the internet, the WhatsApps, and it's so easy to do fraud. It's so easy. You can prepare a beautiful document like in 1 second. Like you have Alexandre Almeida, for example, in Brazil. He uses my invoice. I created the invoice he uses to sell. So he receives payments by using documents that I created. And so he just save as, he puts his name, he signs with his name. If you can see the model, it's all the same of my invoices. I'm the one who created that. The same thing as with Wisconsin cheese. Like they are doing like $1 million invoices in shipments to Africa. Like with all the documents that I have explained to them how to do. Like, and then we have another case which is like, why I'm on this situation? Oh, it's because I had to give credit to those companies because the Exim Bank of the United States didn't give me credit, because there's also that problem too. That's something that's if somebody's following the emails, like I sent the email to the Exim Bank yesterday because I am registered at the Exim Bank. It's the bank that promotes the exports of American products to all over the world, and there's all these efforts. Like that's where I come from on my international sales. I have a college degree on import-export, international business. I have an MBA in international industrial management. I have an H-1B visa in the USA, which is a visa that's made only for high-skilled professionals. And Barry Lieber is there also copying the emails, which is the attorney who processed my visa. Like I gave jobs to Americans. And I explain, I'm a logistician. On the immigration, logistician, that's the name they gave to what I do, which is international logistics and shipping. Why? Because the sales, I can close the sale like in 5 minutes, but then we have the whole shipment process. That's about 90% of my time. So usually what I do is I to sell the logistics, the finance services, the pricing, not only the product itself. A sales rep, he works domestically. He's going to say, once he's ready, and he's going to go and talk about the product, price and compare with other products. I do more than that. So there's an example, for example, I hope we have this hearing soon, but on one of the hearings I hope we're going to have soon on the slate for Biller case, I had a live call with a bunch of a lot of executives from American Heritage. It was Anthony Pucci, Joe Pucci, and there was more people there explaining the shipping in Brazil and the truck drivers strike in Brazil. That was 2018. That took about 1 month of emails and explanations to translate that for the American customer. But I was doing that as a sales guy. I was explaining the whole thing, aiming to sell more, and it was a success. The American Heritage accepted the problem, they understood. I have to do comparisons. I explained that truck driver strike in Brazil would be like the same as if America has no electricity at all. So that was selling shipping services, was like explaining shipping services, and it was a success and then things. But then at some point, this guy in Brazil, in cooperation with his associates in the USA, which it's a matter of investigating exactly the things that I've been Brian Phillips. So the things that I've been noticing lately on these last emails we've been sending to the parties involved is that Brian Phillips was the guy who did the first approach, like bringing Alexandre Almeida to the emails. So there are several emails that Brian Phillips follow the same pattern. Of some of the conversations, he adds Alexandre Almeida from Brazil, and then they changed some emails. Alexandre, knowing that this was wrong, he stays quiet, he doesn't say anything. Then you see the conversation goes. Then at some point he shows up. A few days later, a week later, there's an email. Oh yes, no problem. And then it's Alexandre Almeida there. And at the same time, Brian Phillips and Alexandre Almeida, they knew I was having problems in my office, which is another part of the investigations. È un'altra parte delle investigazioni che sono state fatte. È I problemi che ho avuto io nella mia azienda a Dublino, the problems that I had in my company in Dublin. There was a guy who was doing all that, and now it seems that this guy was acting on behalf of the White House Specialties cheese. Because I believe that Jamie Williams with Logan Williams, they kind of made some sort of a side agreement with this guy so they could commit this white collar crime against me, loot my company, steal my business, and do what they did. Because once again, this is what they did. First, they stole my commissions, they robbed my markup, my revenue. I'm a business, 10 years on business, thousands of dollars in investments. So trade shows in Dubai, it's crazy, money, travels. I know all those companies face to face. I've been several times, Dallas, Texas, to Wisconsin, several times, like three times at least. So the company in Brazil, Alexandre Almeida, like I was in Brazil and the quarry, like what, 1 year and a half. Thailand, like in Valai, I know them face to face. I went to the Thai trade show in Bangkok. I was for 3 full months in Bangkok developing these businesses. All legal, all my documents, visas, business visas, work permit, like the whole thing. So, and then what they did, they just stopped. They stole my income because the Exim Bank didn't give me credit. I have to do agreements with them. As the volume of business is too large, it's sales of $500,000, $1 million, $300,000. It's more smart because for the shipping logic, it works smoother if they ship direct and they manage the pay because of bureaucracy. Because of bureaucracy, it's a lot of bureaucracy. If they pay me and I pay them, it's a lot of bureaucracy because when you ship, you get a payment, you get a shipping, you get a lot. So they would pay my commissions afterwards. But then at some point, that's a lot of money, and they say, you know what? I don't need to pay this. I just talk to the clients direct, and then I steal all this guy income, and they did that. The thing is, like forgot his name, John Rafter, the guy in Dublin. Like he'll be like, did that guy? Because it was very strange. I do not want to expose him too much in public because it's personal stuff. But he was sending emails and attacking me constantly for 3 months. He only stopped once he started to get this service by official documentation from the American Embassy in Dublin and police reports from Florida, from Texas, that they said, oh, and the American Embassy in Dubai. So they when they saw legal document, oh no, this is not as easy. It's not just a PlayStation game. It's not fancy. There's some real documents, reports of this. So that's why they stopped. But they were for 3 months, like crazy, attacking me constantly. So that's why I believe that maybe they made some sad agreements with this guy, and on some of the emails that we identified on the investigations, John Rafter was conducting side meetings in coffee shops in Dublin. There was a cheese manufacturer, a distributor there, and they were agreeing to meet at the Red Cow. It's a coffee shop in Dublin. So I do not really know. And he was talking by WhatsApp. He created his own Gmail, whatever, to do side connections. And I do not know really the whole thing. why this is a matter of professional investigations to really identify what was happening without my awareness. Okay, but what they did, number one, they stopped paying my commissions, so I had no income. Second, or first, these two they combined, they did slandering and defamation. So what they did, as I'm a salesperson, I'm a public person, I'm the guy who needs to talk to strangers and say, hello, I am a good guy. There's a lot of bad people in the world that you don't know, but it's not my case. I need to prove there's elements, obviously, to show my genuinity, and then it's the only way to get results. And one of them is the perseverance, like how I managed to sell a lot, because I'm doing cheese for like 6 years. You see the same guy, the same address, the same website, the same location, the same 7 years, 10 years now, 10 since 2010 as an official company. Articles about me, I have articles about me, and then okay. So what they did, they attacked my reputation. So what they did, they contacted all my clients, suppliers, by voice calls, by WhatsApp, by email. I still talk about the defamation and slandering, because these customers, they still talk to me, and we still mention this case. So, and they want to know, it always comes back, and it's like, what happened, you know, like, because they send, was this slander and defamation? So I had no income, number one, which is basically stealing. And then the second, they did this slander and defamation against all the possible people related to this business, saying that I was Argentinian, that I'm not American, that I, as if this would matter anything. Like, they don't mention that I'm an H-1B visa holder, I have a social security, I pay tax there, I am president in America for 20 years. And they didn't mention, they mentioned that I'm a guy that I steal money from people and I run out from countries, that I'm not popular in Libya, that people don't like me in Libya, that I'm a homeless, that I have no place to live, that I was a homeless in Ireland, that I'm crazy, that I have mental problems, like that I'm stupid, like all sorts of crazy. But it's like, no, I'm sorry, I'm a genius. I have an H-1B. I keep repeating this as if I needed to, because I just explained H-1B visa because that's something for the American market that's uncontestable on a court session, because it's like that's a testimony about who I am. So like, for you to be granted this visa, it means you do have special skills. So I speak 4 proven skills. The application process is like, it's a mountain of documents. I had presented documents from Germany, from Brazil, from my work, from my company, from my LEGroup. So LEGroup is part of this visa. So there is the history, how many years on business, what you do in business, what you interact. So on this, and I was invited by the Exim Bank again for this Congress in Washington, that I should go in a couple of weeks, but I'm not going. So I already have communicated to them that I'm not going. And what's the problem? Like, why? Because this is the case. We're doing all these massive investments to promote American products overseas, and this is what I get in trade. I am robbed, I am victim of slander and defamation, and the worst of all, I have no product. So they killed me in 3 ways. First, they stole my income. Second, they tied me, because this is the thing about white collar and common crimes. So, and this is what it says here on this article from Michael Hobbs for the Huffpost. It's like, on white collar, it's chaos right now. Chaos. I don't even believe it's orchestrated. It's just chaotic. So, but we need always to compare white collar crimes to common crimes, so you understand the crime principle, which is the same, and the law does not differentiate. So if somebody comes here and grabs my phone and run away, it's a crime. If somebody comes here and steal my data, steal my files and run away, it's stealing. The phone is like $200. The file is about $200,000. It's a different. By law, the amount robbed makes it more complicated. So $200,000, it's a first degree felony, which is mostly what happened here. And so they tied me, and then I didn't have product. So what that mean? It's basically just dumping into the ocean. So I was robbed, tied, and dumped into the ocean to die. That was the intention, and they did it. Like definitely, my business is like it's stuck since then, and that's why there's damages, there's losses. On my last communications, which is something I'm going to explain at the end, I have added a problem that I had with new orders of my other businesses. Because once I have a gap of $400,000 on my income, and then I have other business going on, everything's stopped, so they need to pay for that as well. I have the Royal Grain rice, the American Alpha rice, like I have clients ordering that, and they pay me with letters of credit, and where's my cash? So I pay the supplier, and then I have people asking me for money all the time, because I have to pay my labor, I have to pay my raw materials, I have to pay marketing, I have advertising in Dubai that I still didn't pay, I have rent to pay, but then my cash flow is all compromised because of the attacks I suffered. So that's an additional damages and losses, okay? And so I keep receiving these orders for cheese. There was a guy, this is unbelievable, like there was a guy who wanted to pay cash, cheese, 2 containers of cheese. That was January last year, February. I sent an email to the Jamie Williams, Mike Berg from White House Specialties, and I said, can we close this case and you guys just ship me these 2 containers? It's good for you because you're making your profit, you're selling your brand, there's more things, and there's a new customer that I'm giving to you guys, and then and I get this $100,000, and we close this case. They don't respond. They get silent. I do not really understand what sort of defense attorneys are working there, because it's really crazy. But because like yesterday, for example, one of the assistants that I have helping me, that I also have to pay her, okay, she's doing the translation to Portuguese, and she contacted the defense attorney that represents all American Heritage, Presidential Builders, Creative Solutions, Grupo Minar, Dozia, all the slate people. Can you believe that this guy says that he's not aware of the case? That's HLL Advogados. They were contacted yesterday. I have copies of original documents, the 7-day demand in Portuguese, notarized in Brazil, delivered, hand to them, to this office. They don't pay, they don't answer, they don't do anything. Like it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And then it's just unbelievable. So the thing is that when somebody asks, well, why is this public? What? That's how I survive, because I have everybody coming to me to buy, like this guy, the cheese. I have to, I'm sorry now, I have to explain to them what happened. I have people coming to like the Royal Grain rice, for example. I have to explain to them, like, I'm sorry, I cannot ship to you because I have this problem. So I am, why they keep saying, well, why are you doing the videos of BCB Trust or something? Because I have to explain my case. I have to tell the market, this is what happened. I can't just not pay my rent for 6 months and tell that my landlord that, oh, I'm sorry, I have a flu. No, look, I'm sorry, this is the case. I'm a serious company. They know me. And they say, how come, Augustin? I have clients that they come, Augustin, where is your money? You're not a millionaire. Talking about like the people that know me for 10, 20 years. But anyway, the thing is that we are living the golden times of the white collar crimes. It is rough, it is bad, but I keep insisting because I did not know that. I wish I had like a warning maybe 10, 20 years ago, said please do not try, because you are going to be scammed and defrauded often and often, and you're not going to be backed by the police, you're not going to be backed by attorneys, because attorneys, they only work from the money. You need to pay them up front, and then usually they're more interested on working as defense attorneys, because that's where the money is, than working on victims like you. And for you to be a victim, you need to be backed by the police, but then the police is not interested on being involved in white collar crimes, because it's too much work, they're not paid enough, and that's even what they say. They said the FBI now is a joke. They don't have money for transportation. Is that like to be work for the FBI and the CIA maybe in the 90s would be like a great job. It seems nowadays they don't have money even for lunch, because the government's cutting all their funding. So usually they focus probably more. What I notice is that the police and security, they focus more on crimes against life. And maybe that's why I believe that my cases are important, because there is elements of money laundering. That's the thing with Logan Williams, the son of Jamie Williams, who signed a contract with an Arab who lives in Orlando, which is Orlando is like this guy came to me first, and I didn't give him attention. I spoke to him, and he didn't buy from me, but he found a way to go to Jamie Williams and do this and plan these attacks against me and steal my business. And the Williams were like, yeah, good money to me, and we don't need more of this guy. We need to pay him, right? Maybe that's the thing. But this guy is in Orlando, and Orlando Disneyland. So I read, and like, I mean, and then he's like, he sells the cheese for $13 a case, and so he agreed with Jamie Williams and Logan Williams and Carolyn Williams and probably Mike Berg in White House Specialties that they would do money laundering of $4 a case. It's like a case of cheese is like $9. They would put $4 more and do money. That's fucking money laundering. I'm sorry, that's money laundering. Like you can't buy something for $9 and sell for $13. That's $4. That's 50%. And then pay this guy back the $4. Like you're doing money laundering to somebody in Orlando, and Libya has a lot of problems against the USA. And who are you feeding? Why these people need this money for? They're existing in Orlando. It's a high risk territory. There's a lot of security there. I would say it's the number one target for terrorist attacks. Because New York City, the cities, there's everywhere, but Orlando, only in America. There's nothing more American than Disneyland and Orlando. And then Logan Williams is fitting $4 per case to this guy, which is about maybe $40,000 to this guy in Orlando, giving him $40,000. Me, I have my costs, and using it because that part of that money is my money. It's my costs. Because I have to pay my trade shows, I sell this product for 6 months, 6 years. So anyway, all this gang, what they did was stealing, tidying my arms by doing this slandering, defamation that is spread out all over the internet, and not having and allow me to sell more because I have no product. So I had no income, no past income, no future income, and no way to work. So it was like for 1 year and a half. Handling the whole thing, and I'm still here, same company, same address, more business. And the craziest thing is that I am the golden chicken. Like I'm the guy who has all the orders, so people keep coming to me and asking for products. So and then I can't ship. So it's whatever. They just did this because it's too easy to commit white collar crimes. So anyways, the last batch of emails and communications is our strategy now is. Because we're stuck in the problems of 2018 plus damages and losses, but now it's been like 1 full year and nobody paid for anything. The responses, the feedback are awful. We have Dwayne from Watson's that he played us. He made us for 1 month saying he was paying and asking to be removed from this, but then he did not pay, and then the whole thing is there. But he did affirm he was paying to Cassandra O'Brien, and then there's communications, and then he doesn't pay. And then but I managed my schedule, understanding that payment was coming. So that caused me problems in my travels because I was in Europe and that payment didn't come. So he made more damage. So he had the balls to do more, to damage even more, And then we have Ellen Gerber from Presidential Builders. Then she wrote a letter, a 1-page to the Better Business Bureau in Texas, responding our complaint. Repeating all this slandering, all the defamation. She did it on a written message. She says she has nothing to do with it, but she affirms that she's buying more. So she bought $300,000 of slates, so like double what I said. So they keep shipping, they keep buying, everybody's buying, playing with my businesses, they just don't pay them, they just, So, but then I answered her back, all her points, one by one, with a 5-page document that was sent immediately. The Better Business Bureau filed because she didn't answer anymore. The case is open in Houston, Texas. The Better Business Bureau is just open there, and the Better Business Bureau is awaiting also for the criminal courts of justice and all that to really do their due diligence and move forward in this case because it's too much for the Better Business Bureau. The case is just too much. it's just white collar stuff and it's too much. But she did say, you know, like, and there is a principle that all of them agree that Brian Phillips and Alexandre Almeida in Brazil are the ones who have to pay and finish the case. But that's between all of them. I don't care who pays. I just want this case to be finished. But as it's not finished, it's still open. So my contracts are all active, which is another element of this story. Is like, well, if they just not paying, like the contracts are still open, they're just not paying. So I'm entitled for whatever they're doing right now. So what we are doing is that we are updating the invoices and estimating, trying to guess what businesses are they doing. I know through all the investigation that Ellen Gerber purchased like 150,000, like 10, maybe 20 containers more of slate in 2019. So we're working with estimates, and then we do a prorata to understand, assume what Grupo Minar are shipping on slate to America, what Mas Choice's tuna is shipping to Libya, what TMP rice mill Shiva rice is shipping to Libya on rice, and also the cheese, trying to guess and do an estimation about how much business is Jamie Williams and White House Specialties doing to Libya. You know, there is investigations like in why, for example, I was paying cash in 2012, and why they said no, why they drove me to buy through this company in Texas. They approached me in Dubai in 2013 at the trade show, and they drove me that I should buy for this guy in Texas, and then once the business pick up again, you know, they forced me to do the letters of credit to them. There's an overpowering there, there's an abuse of power, how they managed that I should give to them my business and to be victim of all of this later on. So anyways, that's the cases. So all the defendants were serviced yesterday with a new batch of documents. We're doing follow-up calls. The first one was yesterday, was just like the defense attorney simply said that he's not aware of the case. I mean, they're definitely doing this. This is the slave business. The defense attorney in Thailand, he said that there's nothing signed, that they're not allowed to steal, basically. But you know, we keep fighting. The whole idea here on the Bring Civilization Back Trust is that everybody knows that, especially after all these problems I'm facing, I am present in a lot of political discussions. I go to politics meetings in the USA, in Italy, in Ireland, in Denmark, in Argentina. Like, I go and I get involved and I listen and I express my case, because it is a totally disappointment with the legal structure and the security structure we have. We're definitely not in bad shape. I believe this article from this guy is beautiful, because it just says a problem that we are all facing. It's America loses about $360 billion on businesses because of white collar crimes. The cheese, if these people who are handling this cheese business in the USA, if they were not criminals or gangsters, whatever, I would be, since 2012, shipping $5 to $10 million of this cheese. So only this cheese nowadays, in 5 years of history, I would say $60-70 million. And we got stuck in $2 million, $3 million in 2018. And obviously, as the simple shipping, paying, and making your money honestly, like, obviously this type of conflicts, they do not reflect success. You're not going to big figures this way. The slave business, this Alexandre Almeida, he was out of the market in the USA for a similar problem in 2005 against Jack Phillips. So what I was victim of in 2018, Alexandre Almeida did the same thing with his partner at that time. That was Elias Tergelen. He did that at Domus Slave. He did that against Jack Phillips, the father of Brian Phillips. So he did that in 2005. They boycotted him and thousands of dollars in commission. They did the same thing to me. That was part of the conversations in the beginning, because I said, look, I don't do this because I knew it was risky, but he insisted, and at the end he just did the same thing they did in 2005. It's all this horror show, but still, this company lost, 10 years of businesses. I do not believe, you know, there's a marketing strategy behind this, because this white collar, I mean, it does not last. I mean, now 1 year and a half ago, I do not believe than any of the defendants are really talking about me. I can't believe anybody's believing. Somebody calls, if Brian Phillips calls, Anthony Puchin says, oh yeah, Augustin, he's this and this, he's a drug dealer, whatever, he's a gangster. Like, I do not believe he's going to believe on this. Okay, it's just more plain simple theft, and it's very clear. And so it may have worked for them for them, but now I don't know really. I don't know really, but this is a case that, so it's millions of dollars are wasted and flushed away out of the toilet because you just can't do the things right. I believe we still enjoy a lot of organizations and things out because it was not like that until the 90s. But this is going to end, like nobody knows where is all of this going in the next years. Because it's too much white collar crimes. But anyway, we continue fighting. These videos, they are shared in meetings. It's shared, for example, the Exim Bank in the USA. Obviously, this is shared to them because we need to discuss these cases. It's like, how come I'm a trade professional? I'm one of the people invited to go and talk about, so I should be talking about my case of success of shipping imitation cheese from Wisconsin to the Northern Africa and the Middle East. All my efforts, how the markets, why the markets there they buy, what's the good about. I should be talking about the product, the pricing, the shipping, the delivery time. No, I'm going to be talking about white collar crimes, about money laundering, about Arabs in Orlando getting my payments and the plus, and about slandering and defamation against me, about WhatsApp messages, about sales reps in the USA adding the manufacturer and copying him and telling things like, when I had a plan, like the Brian Phillips, I mean, they were so dumb. Like, I was adding one guy to work. I was growing the business. That was in July. I was having problems. I was growing the business. They said, we don't want none of this. We want you removed, and then I'm going to take it all. Like, it's crazy stuff. So let's bring civilization back. Proviamo di rinascere la nostra civilizzazione che oggi è morta. Questo video anche va per il mercato italiano. I am Italian, so guys, you know that I love Italy. So we're just using all of this also. On the Italian reality, we brought the whole thing to the Italian reality, and so this goes to Italy, a lot of different contents in Italy, and where the slate comes from, because the slate in particular is from Liguria. Like, my grandfather is Ligurian, from Genova, and we have the Italian there, and for reducing costs, we developed this business in Brazil, and now this is how we're being treated. We dig it our own hole. So in Italy, we're this is very important for Italy, manufacturing work. The rice is the same thing. We have plenty of rice in Italy, but we can't ship from Genova, from Padania. I have to ship it from Thailand because of cheap price. But then this is how Thailand says thank you for giving them all the work. The slander, defamation, robbery is horrible. So. And then the cheese, the same thing, it's imitation cheese. I mean, we have plenty of cheese in Wisconsin now, but then because of prices, and then they just eliminate the whole thing and do all this against me. And all of this creates this whole thing about bringing civilization back, which is how can we, at costs to a service that there is high demand, more than before, because now there is a necessity. Like 10, 20 years ago, there's plenty of service in the commerce, and now there's none. Everybody's by themselves buying online and trying to be cheap. And so these people, by the time I pick up my phone, they want to talk to me, they want to see me. Only the last 4 weeks, I have invitations for Syria, rice business, Angola, Africa, rice business. Libya all the time. I've never been there because they have so many problems. I've never been, but they invite me all the time to go there, visit the supermarkets and stuff. Not Naples, Italy, northern Italy, Brazil. I have but it's invitations. It's customers that they want to see me. Nebraska, they want to see me. Why do they want to see me? But then it's like that. But then I stop over the phone and say, look, you want to see me. They want to see me because they want me to travel. They want me to go there with the samples. These are like rice samples here, for example. This is rice that I sell. You see, rice. So they want me to go there with my samples and explain and go to the stores, check. That's what I do all my life. Visit the stores, but we need to save costs. So I'd say, look, I can't do all of this, and you come to me asking for a discount. Because the market's dominated by Brazilian, Thai, and Chinese products that they don't pay labor, they don't pay for anything, and their focus is being cheap. I have now on the rice business people calling me from, because in Brazil they're offering the rice for this, because that's Brazil, they just offer price, that's all they sell. They don't have labor, they don't have nothing, it's just a bunch of grains. And in China, in Thailand, it's like no money, no talk. If you don't pay cash, they don't even say hi to you. But then we have all this necessity, and everybody comes to you. They want to visit your store, they want to talk to you, they want you to invite them for dinner. Samples, in my case, they ask me for samples all the time. I said, look, those days are gone, I can't send samples for free. Because if I start sending samples to everybody, like, you guys are going to just buy it cheaper than somebody that does not send samples, like I can't. But I have all this high demand, but then I don't get paid. So where is civilization? And then you try to do manners and give business, and you believe you're doing something good. Guys, Thailand, and that's the Ministry of Commerce of Thailand in London, she has entire documentation in her hands, and I still don't get a proper response. I say, look, I'm sorry, here's your check. I'm very sorry about what happened. That's the only answer you can do. The Brazilian embassy in Washington, the Commerce Department, they have service with all the people. They say, look, I am so sorry for what happened in Brazil. Here's your check. I'm sorry. That's it. The Exim Bank in the USA, the American Chamber of Commerce, the American Embassy, I'm very sorry about what the Williams did to you. Here's your paycheck. I'm sorry. That's the only answer. No, it keeps going on and on and on and on and on. And no payments. It's just a horror show. But I hope something new happens, and we keep fighting. The new strategy it's not that new. It's about a couple of months. It's like, well, the contracts are still open. I'm still entitled. Like you just stop talking to me, and you do it slandering. You attack me. You don't pay, and I have no problem. That's about it. No, that's not about it. And so I'm now going for because this is what, and this has been shared with all the defendants too. Like, once this goes to court, I do have a point, because they're going to see, and it's like, because my initial request is going to be to today. It's going, no, we do an auditing. I want to know every shipping you guys been doing until the hearing date, because the contract is just not closed. It's still open and active. So you're going to go the whole thing, and we come with a number. So that's not 2018 anymore, where I offered this very generous, where I was basically accepting, and in a friendly way, I was like, I just accept the whole thing, which guys, let me go. Just pay and let me go. It's the 7-day demand letter, but that wasn't like in October last year, and like in 2018, and now it's been like 1.5 years. So like, well, I guess they just don't want to let me go. So the contract is open, and I am assuming on the estimations, and obviously the whole thing has a political and interest, because this is a panorama. This is the reality of the market as it is. After 20, 30 years of globalization, this is what we're facing, and then all these institutions like Sint Bank, American Chamber of Commerce, the Department of Commerce of Thailand in London, the Brazilian Commercial Department in Washington, the American Embassy in Dubai, like Abu Dhabi, to know, look, you guys have all this, but this is what the people, the business owners with the pen in their hands and the check accounts, that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing with their whole service. They're being serviced from trade professionals like me, and they're all platforms that we have to operate as wealthy countries. And because even Thailand, Brazil, wealthy countries. They're not countries in the United Nations development. They do have structure. So all these people, they're not in need of anything. They are developed. Thailand, Bangkok is a rich city. Brazil is rich. There is elements of poverty around rich, but there is this also other problem, which is the hate against the middle class, because that's another topic. But being like 45 minutes already, which is usually what all these defendants have in common. Why they're so aggressive and why they do. Texas, Brazil, Thailand. What do these countries have in common? Landlords and slaves. They're countries that are based on slavery. So the way Valai, Limshukai, Yuchana, Thailand, how Alexandre Almeida, how Jane Williams, how they treat me as just a slave. I have no rights. I'm not the owner of this company. So I'm not the guy who has millions of dollars. I'm not. So I don't deserve any respect. I don't have any voice. I'm just a slave. So that's the landlord slave, which is also another point of conflict that's interesting for politics, that explains why this case is interesting for things like the Exim Bank and all these institutions, because in politics too, because we have this pressure from globalization that's affecting our social morals in America, in Argentina, and in Europe especially, because we have the middle class. I mean, there are hundreds of years of wars and conflicts and protests. If you're familiar with Europe or Argentina too, and in America, there's protests all the time. Like, people are protesting because all the rights, everybody wants their rights as a human being respected. And in my case, it's labor laws. It's like, I'm doing the service, you have the result, and you pay. No, you just dumping me and you say, like they say in Thailand, like, oh no, you're going to send you to the police. Or in Brazil, they just don't pay. Like, it's not, because they're landlords. And usually, if anybody that follows history a little bit, they know that America was founded following the French Revolution ideal, and there was the Civil War. So Texas, Georgia, all the southern states that they follow the same pattern as Brazil and Thailand. There's landlord, slavery, poor and rich. They were bombed. They were bombs. If there's somebody here that does not, just go and watch the Gone with the Wind, Scarlett O'Hara, and what happened to her family. They were landlords, just like the Williams in Dallas and Plano, Texas, and the Alexandre Almeida in Brazil, and the Limpushi Sakai in Thailand. They were landlords, and America came and bombarded. So if this war happens again today, they will just bomb a city like Belo Horizonte in Brazil, where Alexandre Almeida comes from, or Dallas in Texas. Why? It's not, that's what the people get lost sometimes. It's not because they were enemies. It's because of these values. They wanted to develop the middle class. They wanted to stop slavery. They wanted to give freedom to everybody. They wanted rights. There was these new social movements. And here again, who I am, I'm a crazy guy. No, I'm the H-1B holder. I'm the guy who speaks 4 languages. I'm the guy who travels the whole world. I was in India last year. I was in Finland last year. I was in Dubai last year again. In these countries all the time. I'm in Argentina right now, in different states. So people want to talk to me. They want to learn from me. So I have a certain status, not to be treated like how you guys are treating me. Okay, so stay tuned. This is chapter number 20. It's the longest of all. I didn't follow much what some friends are coaching me. They said I should do 20-minute videos, but this one is 49, 50 minutes. So I'm kind of talking about the whole thing. And do read this article. That's a bit panorama about the times in history we're living, which is this. The golden times of the white collar crimes, 2020. Welcome to 2020. So let's bring civilization back. All right. Cheers.